Call the regular City Commission meeting of Tuesday, October 9, 2012 to order. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we take roll?
Commissioner Bushy?
Here.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Here.
Commissioner Perry? Here. Commissioner Rubino?
Here.
Mayor Casella?
Here. Next item is consideration of removing the following item from the table. The regular City Commission meeting minutes held Tuesday, July 10th, 2012. Is there a motion to remove that item from the table?
Mayor, I move that the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting be removed from the table.
Is there support?
I support.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
I have a quick question, Mr. Mayor. Why are we removing them?
Because Commissioner Krzyjak asked for the tape to be reviewed for a couple of items of clarification, which are now in the minutes.
Okay. Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Mayor Casella?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
Your Honor, I move that the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting held Tuesday, July 10th, 2012 be approved as recommended.
Is there support? Support. May we take a vote?
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Casella?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of the minutes of the Public Hearing and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting held Tuesday, September 11th, 2012, and the regular City Commission meeting held on that same date. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the minutes of the public hearing and the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting and the regular City Commission meeting held Tuesday, September 11th, 2012 be approved as recommended.
Is there support?
I second.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Mayor Casella?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is the monthly disbursement report. Amy.
Payroll and accounts payable for the month of September was just provided to all of you prior to the meeting. Payroll for the month was $57,974.67. Accounts payable was $777,115.27, of which $277,670.14 were in tax liabilities.
Questions on the disbursement report? Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the September disbursement report be approved as listed.
Is there support? May we take a vote?
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Casella?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of governmental reports. Governmental representatives? Elaine. Elaine's always first, I'm sorry, man. And she's a lame duck, so. But always our favorite. Always our favorite.
Good evening, everybody. I am Helene Zach, still your county commissioner till the end of December, so don't get rid of me too fast. It's actually pretty quiet these days. We did approve our budget, unanimous vote, the end of September. Obviously, sitting on Finance Committee, we introduced a lot of different amendments, and we did it on the floor, and there was only one that we got approved, and that was the youth assistance. But there are some ideas being planted, like buy local initiative, really promoting downtowns and so forth, that we hope to be able to carry out countywide in the next year. We have heard a lot of public comment about our animal care center lately, that there's definitely a group of people who are unhappy with how our animal care center posts or doesn't post online with animals. And so we're looking at how best to address some of the concerns of these people. And there's multiple sides to every story, but I've probably listened to a couple hours of public comment these days about how to resolve that, whether we do a study group, whether we, do a citizens advisory council. 10 years ago, we had new leadership, Larry Obrecht, former county commissioner, that really took our animal control center out of the dark ages and really moved it forward. And obviously there's still room for improvement, and so we are going to address those concerns. So if you've heard from people around here about the animal care control, we are working on it. There was a presentation at Public Services Committee, and it wasn't really investigative, wasn't handled well, but we're on it. And that's it for tonight. Anybody look at the webcast yet? We are available. You go onto the Oakland County website, www.oakgov.com. We're finally live on webcast. You can see me in committee. It's not the best kept secret anymore. So I do welcome people to learn about county. Thank you.
Any questions?
Elaine, with you were saying you're working on the problem. Is it just making sure it's like more humane and
Well, well, again, depending, I certainly had a meeting with with somebody from the Michigan Pet Fund, which is an overall umbrella, and their numbers and statistics. We're actually I would say probably a B-class county organization, animal care control. So we're in the top 10. We're not bad. Could we be better? Yeah. And trying to sort out what are legitimate issues versus minor and so forth. And just having a vehicle to address them more effectively.
So is there going to be some measurable thing or some specific thing I can tell people? Because I have had a couple people have mentioned something to me. So if I just say, oh, it's going to get better, I want to say something a little more.
At this point, we're studying how to address their concerns more systematically.
Okay. Great.
Whether we do a study group, a citizens advisory, group or so forth. There was a meeting with county administration in May that wasn't successful at resolving some of those issues, and that's why they're coming forward.
Thank you.
And I am assured, and I'm on it, and lots of dialogue to make sure that we handle it effectively. I had hoped that at the committee level that they were going to resolve it. They didn't.
Thank you.
Do you have a question, George?
Yeah.
Can you come to the microphone?
Share with me.
George Lanko, 32 Oakland Park. Commissioner Zach, let this be the first of many times people will thank you for the service to our community.
Oh, thank you.
But I had a question about transit. Does transit hit the agenda of the county commission at all, or are things being discussed at different levels right now in the state in Detroit?
Well, interestingly, one of our county deputies, Bob Dado, actually testified at the state on behalf in favor of the Transportation Authority. I was pleasantly surprised that one of Brooks's deputies was doing that. We have not taken any type of position, on it recently, but we have taken position papers supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, we did pass a different type of transportation as far as looking at complete streets. And so the Road Commission actually came out with a platform paper on complete streets. So little bits and pieces slowly.
Okay, thank you.
I do have suggestions, things that we should be doing differently. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Elaine. Good luck in a few weeks, and if you get bored on the second Tuesday of the month,
I know
you
where
can
to
always
find-
come
I know
visit.
where to find.
You may
Thank you.
come here out of routine.
I'm not gone yet.
Ma'am, you're next. No, Chief, she's next. I made her sit down, you had to wait for her. Nice try, though.
Okay. Hi there. I'm Amy Cobley. I am the new webmaster for Ferndale Schools. I graduated from Ferndale High. I was born in Ferndale, and I actually grew up in Pleasant Ridge as well, for a while in high school on Woodside, next to the PR pool. I have some news to share with you about Ferndale Schools and activities that are going on now. kindergarten roundup. It's time for parents of 4-year-olds to start planning for kindergarten. Weekly tours of Ferndale Schools elementary buildings will begin on October 24, providing a first-hand look at K through 6 schools, programs, and classrooms. Parents tour both our lottery and non-lottery programs and apply for the annual Magnet Lottery by February 28th of 2013. Easy for other people to say. For limited openings in the open classroom program, call 248-586-8686 for more info. There is a Sacktoberfest, Oktoberfest and soccer put together, and downtown Ferndale pub crawl to benefit the Ferndale High School girls soccer program. That is on Saturday, October 13th from 6 to 10 p.m. It's $15 for 21 and over. Ferndale Schools Fall Festival. This is an all-district annual event, open to the community, held at JFK, and sponsored by their PTA. It will be Saturday, October 20th from 11 until 3. This is new. Join the Career Club, sponsored by the Ferndale Career Center, to address the unique needs of the 21st century worker. These are free meetings that are led by the training and workshop coordinator, Gerard. Let me see if I can do this one. Gerard Baltrusitis. Topics include free agency, personal branding, youth entrepreneurial skills. The Career Club will meet at the Ferndale Public Library on the 2nd and the 4th Tuesday from October to December from 6:30 until 8:30. The fun one, the State Marching Band Champions. Join the Ferndale Schools community and cheering on the 7-time state champs in the state finals at Ford Field on Saturday, November 3rd. We'll announce that time on our Facebook as soon as we find out. And finally, to get further information about Ferndale Schools on Facebook and for real-time news announcements, and on the web at www.ferndaleschools.org. If it's faster, use our search function on the web. And you can get our e-news by joining our listserv at FPSFanout@ferndaleschools.org. Be sure to put "sign me up" on the subject line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, on behalf of the local Union IAFF firefighters, we are wearing pink for the next 2 weeks. So when you see your fire department, they will be in pink shirts and fatigue pants. This is in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and they're also selling the shirts at either fire station or City Hall for $20 a pop. All the proceeds go to the Breast Cancer Carmanos Institute, who's running the main thing. So we'll be wearing pink as I am now, but it doesn't show through too bad. But
Actually, it does.
So anybody would like that, we'll be wearing pink, and you are more than welcome to get a shirt for the event.
Thank you, Chief. Any other governmental reports? Thaddeus.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I've got my recycling report, about 4 or 5 items. Leaf collection starts real soon. The first would be October 22nd. That would be the very earliest. And I want to remind people that Halloween is coming. A lot of times people have the pumpkin that they have after Halloween. Remember, you could put that into the compost pile instead of the landfill pile, the trash. Huntington Woods, this is another item. This is big. This is really big. Really, 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 really big. It's $100,000.
Wow.
And Huntington Woods may get $100,000. They're in second place in this contest. So there's money in the street. It's about recycling. But okay, there's recycling workshops. The new logo that they have is today's recyclables / yesterday's trash. Don't just throw it away, think. And as you know, I'm a visual person, so I like to show this one thing. But first, if you put, yes, I'd like to have my Vanna White assist me here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Helene, how quickly you can be replaced.
Sorry. Frost is coming. Sometimes the outside plants get damaged, frozen, and people want to discard it. And I almost cry when I see this in the landfill bin, the trash bin. This should be really in the back in your garden. That's where it should be. But you can put this in your compost pile if you don't no longer want it. I want to keep this. It's still green. By the way, this comes from our bathroom here at the City Hall. Now this other part, if it goes into the landfill trash, we have to pay $27.50 a ton. But if you put it into the recycling bin, we get $50 a ton. So, if you, thank you, Ben, thank you very much. So this is the gripe that I have. I see a lot of times boxes just next to the recycling bin, but it's still empty. Tringali will just take this and put this into the landfill. We don't want that. That's cost us $27.50 a ton. If you put this in, naturally, I'm sure almost everybody knows this, but if you put this into the recycling bin, or put other cardboard in here, we get $50 a ton. I like the. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I like the simplicity of this. You want to pay $27.50, or you want to get $50. It's like parking your car. We talked about the restaurants over here coming up, Cork and everything. What if you parked your car and you got a ticket for $27.50 because you parked it in the street? We wouldn't like that. But if we parked the car just a little further, just a little extra effort, we would get $50. Let's say there would be a $50 bill on your windshield. I think a lot of people would move just a little bit further. So I'm encouraging everybody to use FreeCycle, for example. I like the thing. I would love to see someday Take It or Leave It. If you want to know more about Take It or Leave It, give me a call.
And your phone number is?
I'm at WPRTV at yahoo.com. WPRTV. Okay. I'm really glad to see the recycling bins at events in our city, such as Ridge Roots, the Harvest Fest, 4-Ridge Commission meetings at 4-Ridge, Memorial Day at the pool, and other events. It's really great. And if any other program has an event, or group has an event, you could call SACRA to get more extra bins if you wish. I think that's about it. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other governmental reports?
Good evening. I'm Amy Butters, and I'm here to talk to you about the school board race. I'm one of the candidates in the Ferndale School District election coming up this November. If you've seen our yard signs around town, I am the B in bold, and I'm running with I have three running mates that we're running together. And I'm just here to introduce myself to the city of Pleasant Ridge, to make sure that everyone knows that the election is coming up in November. Of course, we know the election's coming, but this is the first year that the school board election is going to be on our November ballot. So we just want to make sure that everyone knows turn that ballot over, make sure that you get over to the local races, and make sure that you fill out the school board race. I know that there's a baseball game on tonight, so I'm not gonna talk long, but
Chad obviously didn't know that.
I just will be very brief. I just wanted to just tell you a little bit about myself. We came here in the year 2000. We moved to Ferndale, and we have 3 daughters who are all in the Ferndale schools. When we decided that we needed a bigger house, we wanted to stay within the Ferndale school district, and so we ended up, staying within the school district by moving here to Pleasant Ridge. We live on Millington. We have been thrilled with the schools. My family, my husband and my 3 daughters and I have had a very positive experience here. So some people might say, what's the point in running if you're happy with how things are going? And one of my answers to that question is, I'm very worried, especially being a relatively new resident in Pleasant Ridge. I'm worried about the issue of resident retention. And I look around the neighborhood that I live in, I look around in the nearby neighborhoods, and I see so many families that are not sending their kids to our schools. And, I just feel that it's just such a shame. And we have such a great school district. Pleasant Ridge has a long history of people making choices about where they send their kids for schools. And it's a very personal choice. And it's something that only families can make. They need to make that choice for their individual child. And sometimes it is the best choice to go, to a different school district. What worries me is when our local community district isn't even making one of the top choices. It's not even one of the top 2 or 3 that families are considering. And that's an issue that I'm looking forward to talking about with everybody during the campaign. I've already been out talking to neighbors about this issue, and I just wanted to just drop that bug in your ear to be thinking about that in terms of when you're thinking about your school board election this fall. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other? This is really not a campaign. This is governmental.
Would you prefer a different time?
Public discussion, or if you want to just announce the election.
Absolutely. My name's Kevin Deegan-Krause, and I'm also running for school board. I hope everyone knows to turn over the ballot. It's a long ballot. There's a lot of stuff on it, but on the back you'll find a school board race, and we encourage you to vote in it. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other governmental reports? City Commission liaison reports. Commissioner Krzyjak, Rec Commission.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to make everyone aware of the next event that's coming up on our big event that's coming up on the rec calendar is the Thanksgiving Artist Market. It's going to be held November 16th and 17th. On Friday, there'll be a dessert and coffee and tea tasting themed. It'll be. We recommend that adults, if they're planning on attending either day, to show up on Friday for the dessert and coffee tea tasting. On Saturday from 10 to 5, there'll be a children's workshop at the Thanksgiving market. There's so far we have. I think we have 22 artists lined up. 11 are new this year. 5 of them will be from Pleasant Ridge. Part of the craft on Saturday will be making macrame and friendship bracelets with the kids. Staying with the kids on Sunday, October 28th from 4 to 6 at the DPW yard. It'll be the Halloween hayride. It's always a very popular event, and I know my family's looking forward to that. Some other events related to the Halloween coming up is the Tot Halloween Party, and that'll be Thursday, October 25th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. The Kids Halloween Party will be Monday, October 29th from 6 to 8 p.m. And the Superhero and Princess Party will be Friday, November 9th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And we would encourage all the superheroes and princesses in Pleasant Ridge to put that on their calendars. Another important date is the volunteering in Pleasant Ridge meeting, the VIP meeting, which is for kids 11 and up. That'll be Thursday, October 25th at 7 p.m. at the Rec Center. So they'll update on some past events. This past weekend we had our garden harvest party at 10 a.m. We were out there a little bit earlier. We also had a soccer game to get to, so me and my family got out there and cleared some weeds, I guess they were at the end of the day. But we did get a nice bundle of tomatoes out of it, and Commissioner Rubino has advised me that fried green tomatoes make an incredible dish. So that's what we're looking forward to. All in all, I feel the community garden was another great success in its second year, and I know a lot of people look forward to next year as well. Finally, I just wanted to talk about a new subcommittee that's been added this year, based on the concept of a community build playground type event. Several members of the Rec Commission have been meeting over the past year to find ways to improve play opportunities for the children of Pleasant Ridge, and there's a subcommittee that's working hard on proposing a new tot lot for Gainsborough with some attractive play opportunities for little Pleasant Ridgers. So I think that's all we got. The next meeting for the Recreation Committee was scheduled for October 25th. We are going to move that to November 7th. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Planning Commission, DDA, Commissioner Bushy.
There was no meeting last month, Mr. Mayor.
Historical Commission, Commissioner Rubino.
Historical Commission held a meeting last week and discussed some items. One was the antique sale that took place, and that it worked out very well, and we want to thank the people that really helped us make this happen, especially the Women's Club. They really were great about supplying food for the hors d'oeuvres on Friday night, plus helping us with the signs with arrows and telling people how to get to the show. Also the administration with Sherry and Scott, who did so much to help us, and Amy, and we really, really appreciate it, and it worked out really well. The Historical Commission is in the process right now of discussing the speaker series. They haven't really decided whether we're going to move forward with that in January or not, and hopefully next meeting we'll make the decision, or they will. The other thing that you really should mark on your dates is December 3rd, which I believe is the tree lighting. We're also going to, the Historical Commission has invited a special guest to come from the North Pole. He's going to come down, and we're going to have pictures with Santa. So if you want to bring your children and have them come and visit Santa, and they can explain to him what they would like for Christmas, and he will see what he can do. It depends on the economy, of course. But if you want to do that, that'll be something that we are planning to have again on December 3rd. Next month's meeting, I can give you the total details, and I'm sure it'll be sent out to other members of the community. Just want to say one more thing. It has nothing to do with the Historical Commission. Last week there was a meeting for the liquor license in Pleasant Ridge. I'm sorry I was not able to attend. I was out of the country. But what I wanted to say is I was really confused by something. I was confused by what is considered East Side or West Side. I always thought that the East Side was where I originally was born, was on the other side of the Dequindre. I didn't know that we had an East-West in our town. My belief is that there is no East-West. There's only Pleasant Ridge. And I'm really tired of people saying things like, well, you must live on the West Side or you must live on the East Side. You don't live on the East Side. You don't live on the West Side. You live in Pleasant Ridge. Everybody is to be treated equally. It doesn't matter where you live. There was people who were speaking, and other people would yell out, well, you must live on the East Side. You must live on the West Side. That's rude and obnoxious, and we should be courteous to each other. Whether we like what's being said or not, we have our turn to talk. But as long as I sit up here, anybody who gets up and says something about the West or the East, I'm going to put them in their place, because you're a Pleasant Ridger and we're all Pleasant Ridgers. We're not divided. We're together. We have a great town here. I love this town. And I don't want to see it destroyed. Thank you.
Commissioner Perry, everything else?
as we've heard, there is going to be a school board election, and with that election, we have another candidate who I think is going to speak probably in just a little bit, but there is a League of Women Voters Forum that's going to be Thursday, October 18th at 7 p.m. at the Ferndale City Hall. There's also going to be another candidates forum. The Citizens for Fair Ferndale will have a candidates forum on Sunday, October 28th at 1 p.m. at the Ferndale Library. Another school matter is there's going to be a rematch of the Ferndale teachers and the Ferndale police officers in dodgeball on November 1st at the high school. I forget what time it is, but I will make sure to get that word out. And then 7 p.m. Thank you. And then now on to some of the other things. With the WA3, they have recently just installed two, so we're making sure as a city that we have, the planning commission is talking with what our plans as a city are to make sure that they are included in those plans. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, public discussion items not on the agenda. Then you.
Hi, my name is Brad Parks. I live at 10 Millington Road. My family has lived here in Pleasant Ridge for 10 years. We enjoy our Pleasant Ridge experiences, such as looking in our backyard for four-legged creatures that shouldn't be there, and reviewing our quarterly water bill with a combination of shock and awe. As well as living in Pleasant Ridge, I've also been a Ferndale Schools resident for the past 25 years, and I'm running for Ferndale School Board this November. You've probably seen my name, Brad Parks, on those yellow and red signs that are around town. No, there is not a mattress warehouse sale. I am, in fact, running for school board on the Citizens for Better Education ticket. Now, why am I running? Well, since my daughter started school 10 years ago, I've had just about every school-related volunteer job you can have. I've been president of the Ferndale Elementary PTA and the PTA Council and the Ferndale Education Foundation, which gives out over $20,000 in grants to all Ferndale schools every year. For the past 3 years, I've been on the Board of Education Program and Technology meeting and the Operations Committee. I was on Citizens for Quality Schools and got the school bond passed, and I'm currently chair of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee to make sure that the bond projects go as planned. Now I'm running with Ferndale Citizens for Better Education. CBE has been vetting and backing school board candidates for over 30 years. They helped to bring in the new superintendent over 10 years ago. They helped to consolidate our schools when the district was in danger of failing financially. They got our schools back on track. CBE understands the inner workings of schools on the local, state, and federal level. Our district no longer has a deficit. We actually have a rainy day fund. Test scores have improved, and our enrollment is stabilized. Now, I went to Connecticut this summer on my vacation, and I made the mistake of going to the Dinosaur Museum in New Haven, and my teenage daughter got it in her head that she wants to go to Yale. Now, even though that makes my brain and wallet hurt, this is a distinct possibility. My daughter is an honors student at Ferndale High School. She takes honors courses. She participates in the award-winning Ferndale Marching Band and is part of the Ferndale High School robotics team, who are in the top 10% of the state. The robotics team leader recently graduated, and he's now at MIT. Ferndale High School students, they regularly graduate. They go to U of M, MSU, Michigan Tech, all the good schools. She and her friends and their families love our schools, and they wouldn't think of going anywhere else. Now, I'd like to urge the commission members and the viewers at home not to make any bold, foolish choices in November. Read up on the facts at www.ferndalecbe.com. Attend one of the school bond debates like Ann mentioned. First one is next Thursday at Ferndale City Hall at 7 p.m. Get involved. Vote for experience. Vote for results. And vote for me, your friendly neighbor, Brad Parks. Thank you.
Thank you. And the rebuttal.
Not a rebuttal at all, Mr. Mayor and Commission. It is about the question of retention that I wanted to talk to you a few minutes ago, and I will be very, very brief because I know there's a game and there are lots of concerned citizens with other questions and other issues. I am glad that I send my kids to the schools here. I am glad that people like Brad and others do as well. Problem is that not enough do, and it's not the choice, it's not the problem with the people who are choosing to send their schools. It's the problem that is multi-layered and multifaceted. I teach at Wayne as in my professional capacity, and I look at governmental systems and I look at data, which means I don't have a lot of friends because I do a lot of geek stuff and not a lot of socializing. But one of the things that I've done is to take a look at the data that relates to Ferndale schools and the retention data in particular. And the retention data that I've been able to find from the state and from elsewhere shows that the Ferndale School District used to retain about 85% of its students, people who lived in the district, about 85% sent their kids here. Over the last 10 years, that number's dropped to 68%. There are lots of different ways of looking, calculating it. The numbers that we came up with were rather different than the numbers that CVE came up with, so I wanted to check. And actually, just purely by accident, Kurt Metzger of Data Driven Detroit is here. I checked with him.
I have no friends either.
I checked with, yeah, exactly. We can be friends with each other. I checked with him. I checked with his assistant, Kelly Goodman. I checked with CEPI, the group that does the data, and they suggest that this is absolutely right. Beyond that, and when I talk to people door to door, they say, I'm surprised the number's that high. Well, the numbers for Pleasant Ridge from the statistics from the school district themselves suggest that less than 40%, about 35% of Pleasant Ridgers send their kids to Ferndale schools. That's not enough. Now, how do we fix that? It's not just enough about pointing out the problem, it's how do you fix it? Part of the fixing is long, hard work. It's improving academic standards. We're moving in that direction, but we can go better and we can do it faster. Second is to do long-term planning. Civic organizations, groups, they make long-term plans. The current school district's long-term plan begins with the line, a vision for the year 2005 and beyond. It was written in 2000 with 1990 census data. It's time for a new plan. And according to David Arson, a guy who teaches at Michigan State in the education department, the single best way to keep parents in a district is to show them a vision for the future, is to show them a long-term plan. Those are the big things, the hard things, but there are simple things that we can do as well. We can do better customer service at the door level, so when you walk into the school district, you're greeted in a friendly manner. We can also send our people out, not to make people from the community come to the district, but send people from the district out to the community. I've knocked on 200 doors so far in this particular campaign. Friends and neighbors and other people who support us have knocked on about 2,000. And what we've realized is that when we go door to door, we make human connections with people. If the administrators, if the board members, if the others went door to door to every young parent in the district and said, this is a good district, we send our kids here, we care about you, and we want you to stay, not just sent them a flyer, but went to them door to door, I think we could bring those retention rates up substantially. That's what I'd like to do as a board member, and I'd like to encourage your support. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other items not on the agenda?
Hi, I'm Brett Scott. I live at 6 Devonshire in Pleasant Ridge. Have a real quick one. We had a meeting at Gainsborough Park about a week ago with a couple of our commission members, and one of the items that was brought to our citizens' attention in the meeting is that there are 3 barbecue grills at Gainsborough Park, or one, I guess, out of the park next to it, that are in disrepair. So at a minimum, we probably want, as a city, to at least get the ones that are broken out so that they're not a safety hazard. In addition, I did some research and I found some replacements for those grills that are about $150 a piece, a very small investment for the city that I think we should invest in as a city. And I'm not sure the process, the governance to get that done, but I just recommend that we do it as a city and get it done. I will volunteer my own effort to install them if the city purchases them so that the job gets done. I can't take them out, but I will put the new ones in. And that was it.
Thank you.
And I have copies of the grill here that you can see that they're used by other municipalities, and it's about $550 for all 3 shipped to someone's address.
Mr. Scott, did you talk to the recreation director about that?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
He's the person to give the
him a
information
copy.
to.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other items not on the agenda?
I'll get up next.
So we had the meeting about the liquor license. I think I'm confused. Where are we going with this, or what's the next step on that?
Well, it was tabled. Thus far, it hasn't been taken off the table.
Okay.
Sherry, have we heard it all from the applicant?
I will just say it's not a tabled item in that I don't believe it was tabled.
No, it wasn't tabled.
But there was a motion that a second public hearing
It was tabled.
would be.
We asked him to remove it from
It
the...
was tabled?
It was tabled.
It was tabled, I'm sorry.
According to the last motion.
Okay. Well, there were several motions going on, so I apologize for
It
that.
was tabled.
That's
So
why
that
I was
would-
confused, like where we're...
The understanding is that my understanding is that the city commission would like to see more information from the applicant, and if he is interested, then a second public hearing would be scheduled, and that information would be reviewed at that time.
So is he able to still open a restaurant even without the liquor license?
He would
Yes,
have to
yes.
submit a site plan application and go before the planning commission, because that's the body that approves a site plan. And yes, there is a potential that he could do that.
And the reason I'm asking is because walking by there, it looks like it is built out, the walls are in place, the drywall's up, there's actually furniture, or, you know,
Yes.
tall chairs and stuff, so my point is he could still come in, open a restaurant without a liquor license, and still impact the neighborhood before there's a study or anything else done.
And the city would have less control because they would not have the contract that regulates usage and hours, that gives us more teeth than we have in any other business venture in the city if he does not have a liquor license. Because the teeth comes from the power over the license. So, for instance, I made no bones that I objected to 2 o'clock in the morning. It could be a National Coney Island without beer and wine and be open till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mr. Mayor, if I may though, isn't there, they still have to meet the site plan review as far as...
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
He
I
would
mean,
have to
there's
submit
still,
an application
there's still a
first.
lot to process though that he has to go through before. I mean, there's still a large issue which was brought up at the hearing with parking.
Right.
I mean...
Well, that's the concern I'm asking about.
Well, you know, and so, I mean, he has to meet the parking requirements of the capacity of that restaurant before he can get approval to go ahead and open up that restaurant.
Liquor
So even though we
license,
lose some teeth as far as hours of operation with the liquor license, there still is a long process that he has to go through, and one of them is a parking issue.
Okay.
Thank you. Other items not on the agenda?
Chief Foreman, 79 Maplefield. Follow-up question to what Rob asked. Isn't the site plan subject to a public hearing as well, or is that not correct?
Sure, that's
Yes,
at
it
the planning commission level, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, thank you. My last question would be regarding the potential sidewalk initiative. Wonder if there's any update on that.
I was gonna give an
Sherry.
update under my report unless
I
you
can
want.
Go ahead, do it now.
Okay. At the last meeting, the city commission asked, and I recommended that a traffic study be done. The sidewalk on Kemberton, as you know, is an issue that Mr. Foreman brought to your attention. The only location on Kemberton, between Oakdale and Maplefield, by the way, where a sidewalk could actually be installed was on the south side of the street because of the narrowness of the other side of the street. I have been in touch after last month's meeting with the traffic engineer that we work with, and I understand a study is being conducted. He informed me that he could not get a comprehensive report ready for this month, but by the November meeting I should have his report. It's been an interesting process since last month because I contacted our attorney that deals with our zoning issues, because looking at the original plat map, apparently that was not always a street. And in 1938, sometime between 1938 and 1954, the city vacated that to create a street. And there are documents on file at the county level, but Mr. Peterzak and Ms. Allison and I have been reading minutes for the last several days, I should say since last week, which is awesome because, you know, what you find in these minutes in 1938, it became illegal, by the way, to give raw food to hogs.
So we had to cook for them.
So, you know, it's taking a little more time because about every 10 minutes, one of us is like, oh my God, you gotta read this. So, we don't know for sure that there's a right-of-way. I contacted our engineers because I wanted to know if there is a standard or a recommendation or a law about the location of a sidewalk with respect to the curb. Can it be adjacent? Is there a buffer zone that's recommended? I've learned that there are requirements under ADA for the width of the sidewalk and to make it ADA accessible, which is a minimum of 4 feet, but if you go 4 feet, you have to have 5-foot clearance every so many feet so that the potential for 2 wheelchairs could pass each other. So basically, there's a lot of work going on this. I have also been in touch with the homeowners again on this. They are very concerned, and I expect that one or more of them may come this evening.
They're here.
Oh, they are here?
Yep.
Okay, so, oh, hello. There's just a lot more to look at, and I think by the November meeting, I will be able to at least give you some kind of recommendation on how
Or
to
at least
proceed.
narrow the issues.
Narrow the issues for, the legal issues as to whether or not you have authority to do anything.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have one question, Sherry, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Have we gone back and looked at police reports and everything also to see if there's going to be any type of incidents in that street? Is that going to be part of your study also?
Yes, it will be, yes.
Thank you.
The chief
After what, how many
took a
years,
quick
since
look.
1950?
There are no reported incidents, but I asked him to go back a little further than he did, so, yes. He will weigh in on this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Jay.
right. Thank you all.
Any other items not on the agenda? Do you folks want to speak in the corner? Yes, no, maybe so? Now's your time, at least for this meeting.
I am Gianna Cuda at 49 Maplefield, corner of Maplefield and Kemberton. And basically we, I guess, have been in discussion with Sherry, want to voice our concern about having the sidewalk put in. I know that there is concern about safety, but one of the things that concerns me is that there really isn't a lot of room in that area. There are a lot of landscaping that would take a lot to change, and because there's very little room, a 4 or 5 foot sidewalk is going to leave no room to put snow. So as the homeowner, I'm very concerned about the additional liability that is being put on me and an inability for me to actually remove snow that is going to be put on that sidewalk. So basically I can, at this point, would be able to put it into a hedge, which isn't going to work, or put it back into the street, and you guys aren't going to be happy with me if I put it back in the street. So that is a big concern, and I don't feel that the safety issue would be resolved 12 months out of the year. I think that there are other things to consider. Possibly at this point, Kemberton is a street where you can park cars on both sides of the street, and that is not common, obviously, in the city. I would think that maybe we could consider looking at making it parking only on one side of the street and putting in a walk path on the other side of the street. At least with that, the snow plows will be removing the snow all the time, and there wouldn't be an issue with slipping and falling like there would be if there's no room for me to remove the snow from the sidewalk. There also is an issue that I'm concerned with, and that has to do with where the potential sidewalk would cross my driveway as well as the other driveway that would be affected. It appears from the drawing that we were given back in July, and I'm not sure if that is still relatively accurate, but it appears that that sidewalk would cross through the apron of the driveway, and I believe that there are some issues with the ADA on that because the apron is angled and the sidewalk crossing over an angled surface wouldn't be safe for walkers or wheelchairs or things along those lines. So that's something that I think also needs to be considered. But generally, I mean, we are, as just the individual homeowner, concerned that there's a lot of liability that's put on us with the sidewalk, and I guess just wanted to voice our opinion.
Thank you. Lincoln.
George Lenko, 32 Oakland Park. I have no standing on this issue, but I was a former commissioner. did serve as liaison to the Planning Commission, and I voiced sympathy to the position of the resident. And you know, the real work of the City Commission is managing the budget and assessing city priorities. And when you think of all the pedestrian hazards in this neighborhood, I think most residents would agree the greatest hazard is crossing Woodward. And so whatever it would cost to improve Kenverton, which to my knowledge never had an incident for as long as I'd lived on Oakdale before, and now that I live a couple blocks away on Oakland Park, whatever the budgeted amount to redress that would be, I'd implore focusing on Woodward, please. That's all. Thank you.
Tom, do you want to add anything, or wait till next month when the traffic's in? Thank you. Any other items not on the agenda? Back to the agenda. Next item is consideration of the appointment of Mr. Alex Lenko as the city's millennial representative to the Michigan Suburbs Alliance Millennial Mayors Congress. Sherry.
Mayor and City Commissioners, as you know, the City of Pleasant Ridge participates in Millennial Mayors Congress that was started through the Michigan Suburbs Alliance. Mr. Lenko readily volunteered when he was asked to participate and has been active in the organization since it started 3 years ago. Yes. He is here this evening and probably is willing to give you an update on things that the Millennial Congress has been discussing. My recommendation, of course, is that Mr. Lenko be reappointed for the next year.
Alex?
Alex Lenko, 61 Wellesley. I'd appreciate the opportunity to continue serving as on the Millennial Mayors Congress, which is a partnership between millennials and elected officials in the inner ring suburbs. So through the years we've worked on an energy protocol, and currently we're working on a regional vibrancy map, and we're basically taking a snapshot of each of the participating communities, calling out on seven metrics that we identified in a survey, how each community is vibrant, and to attract and retain millennials to the area.
And a question I ask you every time: what is a millennial?
Millennials are, well, Emily?
Millennial is...
You have to come to the microphone if you're going to help.
Oh, and Emily is the project coordinator. So, I mean, the definition of millennial varies by who you ask,
Yeah.
but for
Emily,
this
name
project,
and address, please.
I actually live at 523 West Troy in Ferndale. I have been the program coordinator for about 2 months now, so I'm fairly new, but the way that we define a millennial in the Millennial Mayors Congress is any individual age 18 to 35. Definitions vary outside of ours, but that's ours.
I don't want to put you on the spot. What the 7 metrics? Education.
Education, government, vibrancy, transportation. That's 4.
A beat you can dance to.
Sounds like a presidential debate.
Economic opportunities.
Yeah.
And so it's...
Arts and culture, I think, might be.
Yeah,
one of them.
that's fine.
Sorry, I'll have them for next time.
And if reappointed, your term limited to not more than like 8 more times, right?
Right, exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the appointment of Mr. Alex Lenko as the city's Millennium representative to the Michigan Suburban Alliance Millennium Mayors Congress be approved as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Going to take a vote?
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is the consent agenda. Sherry.
Mayor and City Commissioners, there's one item on the agenda this evening, and it's a resolution recognizing October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. My recommendation is that the consent agenda be approved.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Going to take a vote?
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is public hearing, solicitation of public comments on the proposed Oakland County Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2013 Community Application and Subrecipient Agreement. I like that term.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Mayor, this is a program that's administered by the city clerk, and I don't want to steal her thunder, so I've asked her to address this item this evening.
Amy?
Well, each year the city is eligible for funds through the CDBG or Community Development Block Grant Program. The city's eligible for $5,000 in grant funding. In order to apply for those funds and expend those funds, the city is required to hold a public hearing, complete an application, and sign a subrecipient agreement. That's our agreement with the county that we're willing to participate in this program. Upon reviewing all of the eligible programs, the city is really limited on what we can do. We don't have a low to moderate area in a census block, or it would be a low to moderate income area. So we need to look at programs that are broad-based, senior citizen programs, youth programs, etc. So this year, the Recreation Director, Assistant City Manager, and I looked at what programs we could fund, and we're requesting the Public Services Program for Senior Services. It helps offset some of the costs of the 50-plus club dinners and some senior activities such as field trips and seminars.
Thank you. Open the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Next item is consideration of the proposed Oakland County Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2013 Community Application and Subrecipient Agreement. Is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Oakland County Community Development Block Grant Program Year 2013 application and subrecipient agreement be approved, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the agreement.
Is there support?
Support.
Mayor, take a vote.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Costello?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is public hearing, solicitation of public comments on an ordinance to amend Chapter 70 Traffic and Vehicles of the Pleasant Ridge City Code regarding the adoption of the amendments to the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code. Charlie, I believe this one is probably yours.
Yeah, this is a situation wherein the state legislature passed some legislation that anyone on the road who blew a .17 or above would be treated more harshly than anyone that was under that. And it was the problem was that the police officers had to go to the county in order to promulgate and to pursue these particular charges, and further, because it was a county situation, that all the funds that was generated went to the county. So what happened was that rather than to write it as a super drunk or a high VAC, what happened was that the cities were just writing them as they always did under the local ordinance. The state realizing that that obviously that this was happening, they gave the city then the right to pursue this particular type of legislation. So we now can make it a part of our ordinance, and that we can adopt it, and I would certainly recommend that we do.
And that means that we no longer have to go to the county for those, Charlie?
Yes, we can just hold them locally, but more than that, we get the revenue. We get our share of the revenue that's generated from the fines and costs.
Okay. Open the public hearing. Close the public hearing. Next item is consideration of the ordinance to amend Chapter 70, Traffic and Vehicles of the Pleasant Ridge City Code regarding the adoption of the amendments to the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I move that the ordinance number 401, amending Chapter 70, Traffic and Vehicles of the Pleasant Ridge City Code regarding the adoption of the amendments to the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code be adopted as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Any discussion? Mayor, take a vote.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Costello?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of the Michigan Department of Transportation annual permit for work on state highways. Charlie?
Actually, I'll
taking this one?
take this one, yes. This
Didn't
is
want to
an
steal his thunder.
I know. This is an annual request and a requirement for MDOT. We have property that runs down the middle of our city, and that is the Woodward Avenue Boulevard and the pavement. Anyway, MDOT requires communities to submit an application and keep it on file, renew it every year in order for any kind of work to be done on those boulevards. That also includes any kind of banner or display of any kind that we would put on MDOT property. So my recommendation is that the resolution that's required be approved.
And this is the same as always?
It is the same as always.
Is there a motion?
I just have a question.
Sure.
Should part of the motion include city manager or assistant city manager as authorized signers?
Sure, yes, that would be a good idea.
That's all I
Well, if you're going to amend the
Okay,
motion,
I'll
you have
ask.
to make the motion.
Your Honor, I move that the City Commission adopt a performance resolution required by the Michigan Department of Transportation for the purpose of obtaining an annual permit for miscellaneous operations within the state trunk line right-of-way as recommended, and authorizing the city manager and assistant city manager to be authorized signatures.
Is there support?
I'll second.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there, I think this is probably off topic, but a resident had brought up to me something about ridging the roads, and this is actually regarding 696, which it would, I don't know if that's just totally out of our purview, or if it is an MDOT purview, but putting the ridges in the road, which helps make it quieter, even though I love the ocean sound, it's like that it can really help reduce some
I
of the...
don't know what a ridge is.
I think the ones on the
grooves?
shoulder.
Nope, it's like grooves that
Well,
like
the
are...
freeway's grooved now.
I don't think at our area it is.
Well, the freeway's grooved. Maybe the ramps aren't grooved, but the freeway's grooved. That's what the humming is.
Okay,
When you groove
well, I
it,
will
it
look
hums.
into that.
It makes it hum.
Someone had told me that who seemed to have researched this and was waiting for it to be done said it wasn't done, like it had been done on the other side of 75, but not on our side. But I will check that out.
Yeah, I could
Are
be
you talking
wrong.
about the 696
It makes
freeway?
more noise
Yep.
and it's
The
for traction.
ditch is what we
Yep,
call
and
it. Okay.
strictly for
where you
traction.
you cut grooves,
Okay.
grooves into
right,
the
I
actual
understand.
roadway itself.
That's mainly for traction though. It doesn't really make the road quieter.
I really
I've
don't
heard it
know.
makes it quieter.
We have no jurisdiction over the
Okay, great.
freeway,
I will ask.
so-
Does MDOT though?
Oh, MDOT would know, and if
Okay,
it's
I will
not
talk
them,
to
they'll
them.
know who.
Thank you. Excellent.
Mayor, take a vote.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of the agreement between the City of Ferndale and the City of Pleasant Ridge regarding the use of Ferndale's southwest storage area during the 2012 leaf collection season. Sherry.
Mayor, I am going to ask the assistant manager to address this item. This is a contract that he works on every year.
See, I try to bounce these things around and
Right.
it doesn't work.
Choosing
Scott.
the wrong one.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. Just a quick overview. This is a contract that the city has had with the City of Ferndale for a number of years now. I want to say at least 5 or 6. And it allows our Brylar, our leaf collection and DPW company to take leaves and dispose of them at Ferndale along with 5 other cities. And then Sakura brings their big tub machine over there and grinds them up and then takes them to their yard. So it's an economies of scale, and it allows us to get our leaf trucks back on the street much quicker because they just have to go to Ferndale's yard, dump the leaves, and then continue collecting. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. And the contract is in the amount of approximately $5,911 to allow us to do that.
Questions?
I have a question, Scott. Is this the only area that we do this? I mean, is there any other surrounding communities that have this available to us also, or no?
Not at this time because Sakura has they've cut a deal with. There's 5 other Sakura communities that are taking their leaves there. Which is Ferndale, Oak Park, Pleasant Ridge, Huntington Woods, and Lathrop Village. It really allows them to focus their efforts on one area and be able to put the leaves through this machine that grinds them up even more and gets them ready for compost. And it really just saves everybody a little bit of money and time because you can get your leaf trucks back on the street quicker after collection. So.
Thank you.
Just a question. It would be a lot more expensive if we had to bring it directly to Sakura, am I correct?
Yes, it would, because the trip to Sakura up by 14 in Coolidge, the truck would have to drive all the way there, dump the leaves, and then come all the way back. So you're talking about a half-hour travel time, whereas now they can get there in probably 10 minutes, dump, get back, and then get back on the road much quicker.
You're right, it's win-win.
Well, it's not so much even the expense, it's getting back, sucking up the leaves on Cambridge
That's
before they
the
eat
key.
the street.
The speed of being able to pick up the leaves moves
Yeah.
faster. Is
Faster than they fall,
Yes.
hopefully.
They're not falling this year until scheduled.
Right.
And then they're gonna quit falling when scheduled.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Tell the Pete Oxford. Mr. Mayor, I move the agreement between the City of Ferndale and the City of Pleasant Ridge regarding the use of Ferndale's southwest storage area during the 2012 leaf collection season be approved, and that the mayor, city clerk, city manager, and city attorney be authorized to sign the agreement as recommended.
Is there support?
Support.
Gonna take a vote?
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of the Economic Vitality Incentive Program, EVIP grant award. Sherry.
Mayor and City Commission, I would like to spend a little bit of time and explain to you what the process has been. The Economic Vitality Incentive Program Grant Award is the award and the grant that everyone has been talking about for the past year for a study for a combined public safety department. When the city was notified of the award of the grant, which was, it actually occurred over the Christmas vacation, and I got notice early January. By that time, the city had decided that it would be a better fit if the three communities, Berkeley, Huntington Woods, and Pleasant Ridge, would participate in the study together, and that's something that had been talked about for a long time, and actually was a recommendation by the Huntington Woods city manager quite some time ago, and none of the three cities really had enough money to hire a consultant to conduct a study. So it was good news that at least the cities, if interested, would be able to have a study conducted that would be at no cost to any of the three. I contacted the Huntington Woods city manager in January, and I asked him if his city would be willing to participate or if they had any interest at all. And I got a resounding absolutely yes and a congratulations on receiving the grant, and a thank you for the invitation. I informed both the city managers that a resolution was required in the grant document from all three of the governing bodies in order for the city of Pleasant Ridge to accept the funding. And I did receive one from the city of Berkeley, and Pleasant Ridge adopted the same resolution, which I'm sure you all recall. In any event, when I didn't get a response from Mr. Alley, I then sent a formal letter to his attention, inviting the city of Huntington Woods, explaining the grant, attaching a copy of the grant award and the proposal for services, which had also been amended. Once I learned that Huntington Woods did want to participate, Mr. Peterzak and I traveled up to the state, met with the grant administrator, explained the situation, and said that at the time that the application was submitted, we were not sure and didn't know if Huntington Woods would participate, and once they agreed, then we wanted to amend the grant itself. And so that was done. About a month later, we got a notice from the state saying, yes, we accept your changes, and this will be a three-city study. And then I can't even explain to you the next several months the events that occurred. I was in constant contact with Mr. Alley, and I know that there were conversations with other people with respect to the grant. And I was asking for his resolution. He did ask me at one point, could the study go forward without him taking it to the governing body, and I said that's just not possible. It's a requirement in the grant. In June, I called and asked him to put it on an agenda as a formal item, and I would be happy to come and meet. In fact, I offered up a meeting several times. And by this time, we were getting into vacation times, and I was told that because there probably was not going to be a quorum of the Huntington Wood Commissioners in June and July, and then it turned into
Not everybody there.
not everybody there, 4 of the 5. And so this was meeting after meeting, and I will tell you that by the end of June, I didn't know what to think. So at one point I called Mr. Alley and I said, you know, if this is something that the city isn't interested in, you just need to tell me, because I need to get this settled in Pleasant Ridge, and I need to let my elected officials know that if you're not interested, we need to deal with the grant funds. And my response, which I have put all this in writing to all of you so you can read it, his response, was absolutely not. There's currently a couple people that I still need to talk to, and you know, I have a 3-2 vote, and back and forth. It was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about the outcome of the vote. Just get it on an agenda so I can notify the state and tell the city. By August, I attended a meeting. I was told that it would be on the agenda at one particular meeting. And I called him the day after the meeting and said, how did the vote go? He wasn't in the office. I talked to his assistant. And the assistant said, I don't know what you're talking about. This was not on the agenda last night, which I verified the day before. And so it took a few days, but I was finally able to reach and said, you know, what happened? Why didn't you? And he said, well, you know, I just wasn't prepared for it, and maybe next meeting. Okay. And so this went back and forth. They have 2 meetings a month. When I attended the meeting in late August or early September, there were 4 of the 5 there, and I was told by Mayor Gillum that this issue would indeed be placed on, it was not on the agenda again, but it was brought up under communications, and that this would be brought up on their agenda September 18th. And I answered a few questions, you know, and moved on. So I attended the September 18th meeting, and about 5 minutes before the meeting started, Mr. Alley called me into the hallway and again pleaded for more time. And at that point I said, you know, I have been waiting since January for this. I cannot make this go on any longer. I have to notify the state. It's going to be any day that the state's going to call and say what's going on. And, you know, he was a little bit angry, and I was really just confused because I don't know why. And I said, don't worry about the vote again. Anyway, we get through the meeting. It was obvious to me that at the meetings I attended, I know that the packets that had been delivered to Huntington Woods had not been distributed. They were not familiar with the terms of the grant. At the September 18th meeting, the agenda item was listed as the Berkeley and Pleasant Ridge grant. And so I did clarify all of those things. And I'll tell you, I was so relieved when they finally just took the vote. I was a little disappointed because one of the elected officials did, you know, make a rude remark about the city, which for no reason, in my mind, it was uncalled for and disrespectful, but nonetheless, they finally took the vote, and it was nowhere near a 3-2. It was unanimous to deny participation. So it was fine. You know, I thanked them for their time and for their consideration, and shortly after that I left the meeting. So as a result of this, I know it's a long story, but I wanted you to know that this has never been really off my desk. It's been a constant nag, if you will, to try to get this settled. And my recommendation then this evening, and here's the thing. So after that meeting, I think it was last Thursday, I did get a letter from the state, which I was expecting any day. And sure enough, it came last week telling me that the grant would expire Monday, October 15th, unless the city was able to provide the board resolutions to the state. So,
I'm sorry, the what? Board resolution.
resolution
Okay.
from
Okay.
all three communities.
Okay.
So my recommendation is, rather than word it in the motion to deny the funds, my recommendation is just we withdraw the application or allow the grant to expire on Monday, and that you authorize me to notify the state that the city will not be able to comply with the requirements of the grant.
Is there such a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move the City of Pleasant Ridge notify the State of Michigan Grant Administrator of its intent to withdraw the city application for the Economic Vitality Incentive Program, VEAP, grant regarding public safety.
Support.
I do have some questions, though.
Go ahead.
So, we put the stipulations in regarding broad basing it with Huntington Woods. So, can we withdraw those?
I don't understand the question, Commissioner.
Well, when we originally got the grant, we got it for a public safety with, or
Oh, yes,
feasibility.
yes.
Okay.
And then we went to the state, once we received the award, we went to the state in February.
Right,
And
and asked
sat
them to
down and
rescind
met
it.
with them and said, we need to amend this. And
Right.
that was approved by March.
Right, okay. I stand by my motion.
Okay.
Any other questions? May we take a vote?
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Carey?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes. Motion carries. Sure, I'm sure you and Scott will still present this in future dealings with the state as our attempt to cooperate with other municipalities.
Yes, this, just the award itself is a feather in the cap of Pleasant Ridge because it was a large amount, for a grant for this kind of endeavor, and I have no doubt that it will not put a black mark on us for future applications.
Next item is consideration of establishing a date for a public hearing and zoning board of appeals meeting with respect to a ZBA request at 20 Sylvan. Sherry, you were concerned that it might conflict with a workshop that we might have with respect to the annual audit. Is the annual audit still on target so that conflict exists?
It is.
You make reference to dates in the weekly memo. I don't recall seeing dates in the weekly memo.
Oh,
There was
okay.
2 dates in there.
There's so
Was
many
it?
dates out there.
Well, I
right
don't
now.
have it with me. What were the dates?
The week of, the 22nd is tied up, 23rd is tied up, 25th is tied up with meetings for all of you.
Right.
Um,
I thought it was 27th.
so I think we need to look at the next week, which was, the 30th was the Tuesday.
I can't commit to the next week.
Okay. But it's a ZBA. I know they want to move this, or at the very latest, I think November 5th, which is a week from that Tuesday.
Is that
It's a big project, and
What's
they want to
election
get
day?
going if they can.
Election day is November 6th.
okay?
This would be the Monday before.
The Monday. I could
Monday?
I could do the Monday.
I can.
Monday, the
5th.
Okay.
Do you guys?
And it would only be a ZBA meeting on that day?
Yeah, it'd be
Okay.
a half hour to an hour.
Okay.
We'll be starting at 6?
No.
7? 6?
7.
I can't make it at 7.
5:30.
I can make it at 6.
5:30?
6 o'clock.
4.
6 p.m.? Is that what we're back to?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't care. I'll make it work if it's a half hour.
Is that the 5th? Is that what we said?
Yes.
Monday the 5th at 6 p.m., so you'll know.
Okay, is there such a motion?
Your Honor, I move that a public hearing and zoning board of appeals meeting be scheduled for Monday, November 5th at 6 p.m.
Support. With respect to 20 Sylvan, Pleasant Ridge, Michigan?
Yes.
Yes.
Better take a vote.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino?
Yes.
Commissioner Bushy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Costelli?
Yes, motion carries. Will you folks take that as a friendly amendment for the minutes to have the address in there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
City Manager's report.
I have a lot.
Is anybody flustered with a new grandchild in the last week?
Yes, thank you. Happy birthday to Doc Sophia, who turned 90 last week.
Yay.
And his son came in and asked for, I had some great memories with Doc when he was the principal at Best Junior High, and so I was able to give them a story to put in the scrapbook. And then with that, I called the mayor and I asked if he would do a mayoral proclamation from the city, since we knew that the birthday party would be over the weekend and not enough time to bring it before the city commission. And Doc couldn't attend this evening, so just so you know, that was done, and Doc called today and was most grateful for the city's words. An update, as you may recall, there was a public hearing held for the Polar Environmental with MDEQ hosting the public hearing, and the issue before them was public comments and concerns about issuing a permit that would somewhat regulate the operation at Polar. There was a very low turnout. It was disappointing, but I am proud to tell you that all 5 of our elected officials were there, and I think most of them had something to say. The comments were excellent from the people who were there. We had, I think, 4 or 5 of our own residents, very knowledgeable and well-spoken, that expressed the concerns and questions. The end of the public comment period was supposed to be that evening, but because it was asked that it be extended so that more people could have an opportunity to respond, that was extended till October 5th. So the public comment period is over. The next phase will be Polar considering and answering the questions and comments, and then making a decision on whether or not a permit will be issued. I have been in touch with one of our residents who's really kept tabs for years over at Polar, lives in the area. The phone number for MDEQ has been publicized. It's on our website, and we have encouraged all of our residents to please call as often as you have time to do and express your concerns. But there's another phone number who is, this is an agency that oversees the MDEQ. It's a part of the EPA. It's not a widely publicized telephone number, but this is, I think this is the most important number and organization to call, because I don't think MDEQ necessarily has done its due diligence throughout this whole process. And I'd like to share that with you, and then I'll have this posted on our website. The number is 1-800-292-4706. It's the EPA, and the acronym for the group is PEAF. Last month, the City Commission asked, after a resident spoke about it, me to look into the idea of regulating fireworks. I don't know if you're aware, but I think most people are aware that the law changed. It became effective January 1st of this year, that consumer fireworks that actually leave the ground, Roman candles and things like that, became legal. There was an immediate rush by many communities to prohibit, to regulate, and do whatever they could to stop some of this, especially after the July 4th holiday, when I think we all became familiar with just how popular these are. I researched it, and I talked to the Michigan Municipal League. I understand the law, and I contacted our neighboring communities to see just what other communities are doing. I can tell you that a city cannot regulate or adopt an ordinance regulating the sale. There are fees, and that is already addressed in the new statute. However, the city can or may regulate, including prohibit, the use of these consumer fireworks, which is what they're called, on the day preceding, the day of, or the day after a national holiday. And that's what most communities are either considering or have adopted. And there are 10 national holidays that are listed in the state law. If that's something that you would like me to introduce, it would require a public hearing before an ordinance can be adopted, and we can schedule that for the November meeting if that's something this city commission wants.
We would schedule the introduction, not the public hearing.
You would just schedule it, correct.
Right, okay. Questions?
Would that be something, I'm sorry, but
Mayor, you were saying, I think you were talking with Mayor Coulter at the mayor's dinner about a fireworks.
He was writing a letter that we all signed on to
Okay.
the legislature.
Okay.
Asking them to step in and undo what they did.
Oh, does that
But
have any
I
action?
have not heard any
Okay.
response from
There
Mayor
hasn't been a
Coulter.
response yet.
Okay.
if I may.
Go ahead.
Sherry, I know there's been surrounding communities that have strengthened their ordinances. You're going to look at those also when you...
I have copies of
Yeah, you
those,
have
and
a
I
copy
have
of
the
those.
samples through the Michigan Municipal League. So basically what you would be adopting is an ordinance that would prohibit these consumer fireworks on days
Right.
other than those
Okay.
ones I
Right.
mentioned.
Okay,
That's
perfect.
the best you can do right now.
Thank you. Yes, I'm in support of that.
I think you said it two different ways.
Okay.
The first time I heard you say we could prohibit it on those 10 holidays or 8 holidays and the day before and day after. This time I heard you say we can prohibit it on all the other days, but not the 4th of July, not Christmas.
That's true. That's
Well,
right.
which way? The second way?
It's the second way.
Okay.
You can regulate, including prohibiting, on any other day of the year except these.
But those 10 holidays.
The 10 holidays and the day before those.
And the day
the
after.
day after those.
Right.
So it's still a good number of days that these are legal.
So we get to prohibit 335 days, and the days they're going to be used, we can't touch it.
Right.
Okay.
I think we should do it.
Okay. So I'll bring back an ordinance to be introduced at the
At the
November
November
meeting.
meeting, public hearing in December or
Correct.
January.
And is that just a certain level of firework that's like this new bigger one, or it's all fireworks?
You're asking the wrong person.
That is the fireworks that most people used to drive somewhere to get.
Okay.
They actually leave the ground.
These are the Indiana fireworks. You should be
Okay.
familiar with them.
They do not, this law does not address novelty fireworks like sparklers or
Indiana.
those
Okay.
smoke bombs. Those are still legal.
Or the
and you
little
can't touch
fountain.
them.
Okay, great.
Correct. Okay. Wait a minute. Garden harvest, that was done. The Maywood reconstruction project has been completed. A final walkthrough of the project was conducted last week. Mr. Peterzak attended that with the engineers and the inspector. The report back from the engineer as well as Mr. Peterzak is it is one of the finest quality projects that has been done in the city of Pleasant Ridge with respect to not quality or workmanship, but the relationship that was built with the inspector and the residents and the quick results for any kind of complaints or problems that came up in the project. It's a very short punch list, and so I expect that we will notify the residents within the next week telling them that this project will be closed. I'm going to ask Scott to step up in a minute to talk about the sustainability grant that was awarded to the Woodward 5, and there's a public meeting coming up later this week. And Amy, just to give you all a reminder about the election, something I probably do not need to mention, because I'm sure everyone knows, there's a neighborhood watch meeting next week. It will be held at the community center at 7 o'clock. Officer Reed, as I told you in the beginning, is very eager and enthusiastic. He is thorough. He has done a tremendous job launching this project. It took a lot of work, and I have received some calls about the number of signs that have been posted in the city. But I would guess, if nothing else, there's not a person in the city that does not know about the neighborhood watch meeting. So, feel free to come to that.
Scott?
Very brief, there is, the Woodward 5 communities had applied for a grant and received it from Oakland County about sustainability, and they are asking for input from residents from the 5 communities. This is the second open house that they will be holding. There was one, I believe, in May or June. It was June 6th, to get input from community members at large about the sustainability project. So that meeting will be held on Thursday at 6 p.m. at the community center. There will be light refreshments and bring your ideas, and then we'll go over what was discussed before, and new project packages.
And the Woodward 5 is?
Woodward 5 is a collaboration between 5 local communities, Ferndale, Pleasant Ridge, Royal Oak, Berkeley, and Huntington Woods to come together to be able to collaborate on programs and bring this area together as a whole, so we can look at different types of things to market, to bring people to this area, to make people want to live, work, and play in these five communities.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Are you done, Sherry?
Except I would ask the city clerk to remind us about the election.
Well, there'll be an election on November 6th. All precincts are at the community center. There will be lines, so bring your patience. Absentee ballots are currently available. Applications are available in City Hall. They are also on our website. They can be downloaded and brought in. The last day to apply in person is the Saturday before the election, which is November 3rd. And I will be in the office from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. that day, accepting applications in Michigan Valley.
9 a.m. till when? 2 p.m.?
2 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other business?
Yes.
Mayor?
Oh, go ahead. No, you.
No.
He's first. You got
He
it.
was.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I just wanted to piggyback on the Polar public hearing. I want to thank our city manager, Sherry Ball, for her work on the residents' behalf. I feel in the public hearing she was a strong advocate for this community, and I want her to know I appreciate that. I want to also extend thanks to the residents who did show up, in addition to, as Sherry mentioned, our elected officials who all showed a strong presence at that public hearing. I also want to thank our city clerk, Amy Allison, who on her birthday was there.
That's right.
And
it wasn't a big birthday.
That wasn't a big birthday.
but I think that just shows her commitment, and I want to show my appreciation for her on her birthday being there. One thing I did want to ask, though, Sherry, I know one thing that was discussed as far as residents being proactive is a odor log. It was mentioned by the DEQ, and I know you have some examples.
Thank you. I forgot to mention it, but I did receive, it took 3 phone calls, but I did receive it today. So we will have them available at City Hall in the community center, and Commissioner Perry is going to place it on her social media site. So.
Yeah, and if you could just explain to the residents the importance of that and kind of what that is.
This was mentioned at the public hearing. It is called a incident report log, and it's very simple. It's basically, if you smell an odor, they want you to put your location, the time, the date, and any kind of weather conditions, if it's windy or whatever you can do. This information should go directly to the MDEQ, so that there is a log of all of the incidents. And part of the concern I expressed was we often do not know when there is an incident, be it minor, major, whatever it is. We just are not notified. And so they assured us that this would be a helpful tool for them.
Excuse me, would that be a neighborhood whip?
George?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Marriage.
It was a joke.
Here to comment, huh?
We need signs for that.
Well, one thing that I thought was, as far as my learning in the dealings with the MDEQ, is they kept a constant refrain that I heard was their limited resources and their ability to really monitor this particular facility. One thing I was encouraged that there was talk of spontaneous inspections, surprise inspections through the permitting process that would be now allowed. That is encouraging. But I really got the sense that the state of Michigan is really putting a lot of the vigilance on the residents. I think they have multiple reasons. Obviously, their funding restrains them. But I think I want to emphasize to residents that a lot of this is on us. So I think the logs will be very helpful as far as assisting residents in kind of keeping this facility in check. I know Leslie Jones was at the public meeting. I don't know, did you want to say a few words, if that's okay?
I just want to say, the only way that they're are going to stay on it, DEQ, is
Leslie
if people
Jones and your
Leslie
address
Jones,
is-
19 Fairwood,
Thank
Pleasant Ridge. So, yeah, the only way the DEQ is going to stay on this and inspect on a regular basis is if people call and complain. And if you smell natural gas, it's quite often Polar. So don't just assume that it's natural gas. Call and report it.
As I recall, when they talked about something like the log, it was in the sense of, call us right away, but if you're too busy to call
Right,
us right
you
away,
can keep a record.
jot it down and then
Exactly.
call us when you can.
Yeah, and I know people are really busy, and then, you know, I know how hard it is to keep up with that. But it's really important, you know, just, I've learned this in past dealings with Reichhold Chemical way back when, and you have to stay on them. They don't have the manpower, and you have to also remind them that they are working at the behest of the citizens and the state, not the company. So they will even say things in their permit application like, you know, it's cost prohibitive to the company. Well, you know, to put air control things, safety factors.
If we smell it, who do we call? Do
You
we
call the number that Sherry gave. That is
Okay.
the number that is the actual EPA number that actually trumps the DEQ numbers. There's a lot of numbers, so they're sort of confusing, like which one to call.
Now, with the gas smell, though, do we still want to call sort of in
You-
case it's a gas
Yeah,
thing?
you
Do
call.
wanna
Yeah,
the
you
chief
call
over there?
Consumers
Okay.
Energy too. You
Great.
never ignore that. It could be gas. You know, we had that incident on December 2nd, I thought we had a gas leak in the house. I smelled it in the house,
Yeah.
first in my basement. So
You
they,
and 300 people.
yeah, but they are dumping waste into the sewer system, so that can often come up through your basement drain. So if you smell strong gas odors, please call.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Perry, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, I also wanted to thank you, Sherry, for the comments you made at the Polar thing. A bunch of residents told me they were really happy with what you pushed forward on that. So thank you very much. I also wanted to ask about the that utility services partners, the sewer line protection plan, and to see where that program is in line.
Mr. Peterson,
Sounds
you want to
like
address
Scott's
that?
thunder.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Perry, I've been in contact with Mike Chambers. He is the gentleman that is in charge of the USP program. And they have our agreement, and they are with the city and are getting a approved contractor list, like somebody that people in the area, they like to use local businesses that are approved for that. We send to them, yes, and then they verify, they check out those companies. And then they are putting their marketing materials together that they will send to the city, we will approve, and we'll send that back to them. So they're doing their fall mailing, they're in the process of that right now, so they want to get all their mailings out before the holidays. So Mike assured me that they would have a mailing out before Thanksgiving to the residents of Pleasant Ridge. So it will come from this USP, Utility Service Partners, but it will have the city's name on it and logo and things like that, so that's how people will sign up.
Okay. And this approved vendors list, is that the people that we would need to use to replace or repair or check out our sewer line?
Yeah, there's a process you go through with the company once you sign up for the insurance.
Okay.
You would contact them, they would give you, like depending on whether it's a sewer line or what your problem is, and then they would get in contact with those companies and you'd work that out with them.
Okay.
Once you sign up for the insurance, you work with USP, the city just kind of is approving USP as a certified insurer.
Mhm.
So you work with them in all those matters once you sign up.
Cool.
Okay? Thank you.
Also, I wanted to see if we would be able to permanently move the residents or the public comment to the beginning part of the meeting, where a lot of times we'll move it, we have it at that very end.
Well, the reason it ended up being moved to the very end is we had people who were trying to get in on agenda items and get in and out, and oftentimes they were here waiting for long public discussions, and, you know, especially Elaine or people who came in on a contract basis, and then it was felt that if they were on the agenda, they should be at the beginning.
I know, like, tonight we had a nice spot where it was after, I think, governmental. So, but I think, I don't know if anyone else.
I think it depends on what the agenda is. I think if Sherry sees that there are a number of people coming in from the outside that
Okay.
need to come and go, like if we had the auditors here, I think it would make sense to get them in and out. If it's an agenda where she can move it sooner, I think she could have the discretion to do that.
Okay. All right, and another thing, I'm sorry. The cities, a couple other cities are looking at instituting outdoor burning ordinances and fire pits and chimeneas and things like that. Is that something that the city, we could have you, Sherry, that if the commission is interested, have you look into and report back to us in the next commission meeting?
This is not a new topic.
Mhm.
It's, although it's never been resolved at the city commission level, it started when the somewhat new, outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, chimeneas, whatever you want to call them, they're small, but they are wood burning, and in most communities, there are ordinances that do not allow open burning. And so communities had to face this idea of open burning that's really not why those ordinances were written. I'd be happy to look into that if the city commission is interested.
I think Ferndale's into what we're talking. Ferndale's looking at it right now.
They adopted it last night.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Which was interesting because when I talked to the fire marshal about this topic, I looked it up, it was in April of this year. There was not support at the city with the Ferndale elected officials to adopt it, and so it was put on a back burner. But apparently, there's probably been more calls. There's concerns. There's also concerns about regulating these because, as you know, some of them are in the middle of an outdoor patio set, so they're this big, and you're literally burning pieces of wood like this. And that's why most communities, or they're those little pot-bellied stoves that are sitting on a deck, most communities up until now have decided to really ignore them. But I think they are becoming more and more popular, and cities are having to deal with it. So are you going to regulate them or not?
So in the past, have we just not regulated it?
We have not. We have not.
We don't have people running around sniffing for burning wood
Correct.
and jumping the fence.
We respond to
One time.
calls.
Yeah, okay.
That's how we do it, on an individual basis. If there's a complaint, and if the police go out and it turns out to be that, there's an excessive amount of smoke, then residents, they handle it like they would a house party.
Well,
They'll tell them to turn the music down,
And I'm sorry if I may, it's got to be something tough to regulate.
it is
It's-
tough.
because
So many
just
different
so one
units.
person a fire is just a couple logs in a pit, and another person is a fire is a humongous burn.
Well, and you
So,
have,
and
barbecues.
I'm willing to look at it, but I don't know if I want to get into a scenario where a police got to be running around worrying about how big the fire is and how much smoke goes.
I'll be happy to
They're burdened enough at this point.
look at it if you want.
I would suggest, though, that we not make you do it by November.
Right.
Please.
Right.
Yes, okay. We have till spring, actually.
I have, sorry, I'll be really fast. There's a sidewalk thing in general, and I know we have been talking about this ongoing.
Yes.
And can we address the sidewalk stuff sometime soon? I was talking to you a little bit earlier about we've had ongoing conversations about the sidewalk tripping hazards and things like that, and many neighbors are very concerned. And I was going to try and find some options for neighbors to get together with a contractor. But you and I were talking about contractors who don't do a good job, which I had witnessed over the weekend, that had even been hired by a municipality. And so I recognize the quality issue is the key. And, and then the ability for them to be able to deal with the roots and things like that cause these troubles. But I think people are very concerned because of not only their personal liability, but also just, for the people who are walking out there too. It's we've sort of passed a danger zone on some streets a little bit. Like there's one spot on Woodward Heights, I've had more people tell me they have fallen.
I believe you.
So,
I know that this is an issue. I know we talked about it, in fact, at budget time.
yeah.
Now, my understanding is that the city wanted to develop a program in spring of 2013.
That's right.
And I think
So I
during
thought we
that
were in
conversation is when
Okay.
I want to bring to you the idea that we talked about, a fee being added to a tax bill.
Right.
That if you pay that, then you are not responsible for any cost as long as you live in the house.
Which
For
I think
sidewalks.
that is great, but we're not going to do all the sidewalks at once, though, right? Because
The sidewalk program, it would be done next spring.
the whole
No, but
city.
you wouldn't do all
Oh.
the sidewalks in one fell swoop. You'd do it a street at a time, I presume, or 5 streets at a time, or would
Well,
you do
we've
every?
done them in a
We do 'em all to
season.
get a better
So the
price.
entire
Right.
city.
Okay.
Right,
Everything.
entire city wants it. And I also thought that we had a list that if they were anxious to do it before the time that we start this program in 13, that they were gonna be able to do that on their own. Is it
Well,
not correct?
residents are responsible for
Right.
repair, and the sidewalk program, in the past, I don't know what's gonna happen next year, residents are the ones that are responsible for the cost of that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the reaction to the pilot program?
Oh,
The
it's been
grinding
good, the
thing?
grinding. There was one comment that was negative because that resident didn't like the look of it. But, if the city commission if you like the results of that work, we can do, as I mentioned, a combination of that, and then that company notifies us of sidewalk flags where that would not be feasible and would need to be replaced.
So
you
that
can
was
do
Elm
both.
Park, was that both parts of Elm Park, or just?
It was Elm and Poplar,
Okay, so anybody wants to go take a look at it, go down those streets.
yes. It was cut.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, it functions really well.
So if there's something different, or if you want to move that up on the calendar, then you just need to let me know.
Is it not prudent to do it when it is not summer? Like, do we need to have good weather?
You have to
Pour
have
concrete,
good
yeah.
weather to pour the concrete.
Because
you
I've
know.
heard there are new additives, so you can do it whenever. And
Yeah,
Well,
those
if we're gonna
are
adapt the
quite
program,
costly.
or we're gonna put something on the tax bill, we need to be doing it at the time tax bills are coming out, which would dictate summer of 2013.
And I thought as a commission we agreed on the 13 scenario already. Isn't that what we agreed on at the budget workshop?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, we had agreed on a solid. Okay.
Not on a solid plan, but that was
Okay.
when it was gonna be addressed.
Okay.
Well, and which means, because of the timing of the tax bills, which means that the city commission is going to need to start talking about this probably in February.
January,
February. Yep.
To get a program
In place.
launched in place by April or May.
Okay, and then I'm
Okay.
really sorry because I know we're a couple of needs in, but
Cabrera's at the plate right now.
I know,
I'm
I'm sorry, but I wanted to address, with all due respect, Commissioner Rubino. I think there is. I don't think there's an east-west issue that is insurmountable, but I think if people are feeling there's an east-west issue, we maybe should have conversations about that to help figure out what that is. I mean, geographically or geography, that might not be the right phrase, but just the way
I know
that
what you mean.
the sides are set up, there are different issues that the east and west side face. And I think, just having conversations and helping make sure everyone feels heard and whatever those issues are, because, I know it's no one's intention that it's like, okay, well, we're going to treat this side one way and this side the other. Then let's make sure that we know what all those things are so that it is out on the table and everyone is feeling heard. Because I think I think you brought up a really good point, that it's like if some people are feeling this for whatever reason, because there's going to be more development in their neighborhood or there's not as much green space, then let's figure out, let's have, I think, some public meetings just about that so that we're addressing some of these issues.
Well, that was the point I was trying to make, that there shouldn't be, everybody should be treated equally, and if somebody doesn't think they are, they should have the right to speak, but when they're speaking, and they shouldn't be interrupted or heckled or somebody in the back yelling at them when they're trying to give their point across. And whether that's a person that lives on the other side of Woodward that's talking with somebody on this side of Woodward speaks against them, that's improper. Everybody has the right to give their opinion, whether we like it or not, that's the way it is. I just, what I saw when I saw the meeting, I wish I could have been here, but I was, like I said, out of the country. When somebody was speaking, people in the back were heckling, and I thought, why do you do that? We are a great community, and we have great people living here, and it doesn't really matter. Because every time I heard East Side, it automatically tells me I'm on the other side of DeQuinder. I mean, that's where I was raised, okay? And this has always been the west side to me, which is this side of DeQuinder. So when I hear a division in our city, it bothers me because I don't want a division in our city. My belief is Pleasant Ridge as a whole, not individually or not separately because of Woodward. That's that point I was trying to make. There should be no division. If somebody feels there's being slanted on the east side, they should have a right to come here and say, I don't think I'm treated right because of this, and be able to speak without interruption or somebody thinking, oh, geez, get out of here. That's what I'm trying to avoid.
And I think that is a great point, and we could figure out how to have some conversation so that all of that gets sort of dissipated and make sure that any issues that are out there can be addressed.
I agree. Should we mention about the coffee house at 27th? Isn't that what it is?
Thank you.
25th, isn't it?
25th.
It is the
25th.
Thursday, October 25th at 7 p.m. at the community center. There will be the first formal city commission coffee house. All are welcome, and there will be notices posted for that too.
So and good cookies.
And good cookies. And I think everybody should attend.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
I'd like to make one public. I know you don't like that, but Ralph Barrett with it. I'm Jane Mikulski. I live at 110.
Well, that was earlier on the agenda.
Well, I'm very sorry. I was at a previous meeting, and just one thing. In the last part that I managed to be here tonight, Commissioner Perry was asking about public comments being at the end of the meeting. I think before they're moved to the first of the meeting, the commission as a whole, perhaps at a study session, should be looking at what is the usual way of doing public comments, which is we don't have give and take from the commission and the person. I, as a resident, have the right to make a public comment. I can make a complaint. I can even ask a question if I wish. But I do not have to expect, and in 99 out of every 100 meetings, the commissioners do not answer that. They tell you, yes, they've heard you, and they may study it in a study session. They may take it on. I think before we start doing it at the beginning, we need a time frame. Most of the time, you get X number of minutes to speak. And I've been here at meetings where I have heard these same arguments time and time and time again, and they've run as long as 20 minutes. So before a quick change is made, I would suggest that in a next study session, and I assume before an agenda is developed you have a study session, that you discuss some of these things so that all of us can be heard and we're not here until midnight on some nights. I'm not opposed to speaking. The other thing that I would like to briefly touch on, and yes, we're going to win this one, Mr. Mayor, but we're bringing the boys back home. But at any rate, the other thing I'd like to speak about really very briefly is public meetings. I spent my life, my 44 years in work, running meetings of large groups. And it is fascinating to me that when you have a meeting and you do not have an agenda, and the sole purpose of the meeting is to hear everyone, they become what we used to call bitch sessions. Everybody has their word and they're grousing. Nothing is ever decided in one of those meetings, and a lot of time it festers. And I've lived in this community now for 40-some years. I am single, I'm divorced, so I'm as interested as anybody else in this community because I own my home, I live alone, I'm interested in public safety, the whole shot. What concerns me is we are using both social media in this community and we're using public meetings to allow everyone to complain. If not complain, let's say air their concerns. We never get to the point we're settling them, we just go from one meeting to another. The meeting I just came from was one in Royal Oak, happened to be a person from Pleasant Ridge there who's a prominent citizen, and he was complaining about this issue, and then to come here. We are not a direct democracy. If someone on the east side doesn't think that the sidewalk is fixed, they ought to contact the city manager. And if the city manager doesn't react, then I suggest they write it down and pick up the phone and say, you know, I was in there and you didn't do anything. But we seem to be getting almost an overload of information that is often personal and it's often a complaint, as opposed to saying, what are the real issues here that we need to look at? And that's my concern. I don't want a community torn apart with hard feelings. I don't like going to meetings where everyone complains, and I have just spoken more than 3 minutes, so I'll sit down and you don't have to give me any recognition at all or ask a question or make a comment. I thank you.
Thank you.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Go Tigers.